I'd like to give a very warm Tantasqua welcome to our guest speaker from UMASS Hospital, Tina Grosowski. Here we go.
Hear me? Is it working? Great. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Tina Grosowski. I coordinate the Central Mass Tobacco-Free Community Partnership out of UMass Medical School, and we work all over Central Mass to reduce smoking and secondhand smoke through three methods, really, through passing policy through the boards of health. I'll talk about that in this short presentation. Through helping people to quit smoking regular combustible cigarettes and getting off nicotine, and we work on smoke-free housing, and we have a statewide youth organization, which I hope you think about starting here at Tantasqua, called the 84 Movement. So I'm going to go through these slides. I have handouts that I put out on a table outside in the hallway. I do have some products here that I'll hold up, but I'm not going to pass them around because I want them back for my next presentation. But you're welcome to come up afterward and talk with me or take a look at them. So what we're talking about here tonight is this slide, Big Tobacco Targets Kids. The tobacco industry, the main point of the tobacco industry is to make money for its shareholders. And it does that by getting consumers to buy products with nicotine in it, because nicotine is, as you know, is the addictive drug. As you can see, these young people are standing at the counter where they can buy gum and chips and chapstick, etc. below the counter. And what do they see? Above the counter is all the products with the flavors and the packaging, because you can no longer advertise on television or in the newspapers or on billboards like you could when I was growing up, and maybe many of you who have gray hair like me. What do we know about nicotine? We know that the adolescent brain is still developing because of CAT scans and MRIs and science now. We know that the adolescent brain is still developing until age 23, 24, 25. So when you're in middle school, a good day is you get out the door, you've had some breakfast, you've got your homework done, you've got your homework planner in your backpack, you've got your shoes on and some clothes, and you get out the door and get the bus, and that's a good day, right? The whole point of middle school, for those of you to remember, that it's all about getting organized, getting understanding how to learn, be a good learner, how to pay attention, and organize yourself. So that by the time you get to high school, which you all are here today, hopefully you've gotten that under your belt. You know how to organize yourself, you know how to do your homework, and you know how to get through a class day, and life gets a little bit more complicated on the bus, right? So what do we know about nicotine is that nicotine adversely affects the adolescent brain because it's still developing. So if you use nicotine when you're young, start using it when you're 8, 9, 10, early adolescence, the molecules of nicotine actually adhere to the neurotransmitters in the brain and form that pathway of addiction. So the brain is growing with nicotine attached to it. That's why if you're a smoker, or if many of you have parents who are smokers, grandparents who are smokers, people in your family who have been affected negatively by the health effects of smoking, you know that it's very hard to quit nicotine. It's the hardest drug there is to quit because you got started when you were young. So when you're in your 50s or 60s and you're trying to quit, it's very difficult. We know that it disrupts the brain's circuitry. We know that it makes it harder to concentrate, to pay attention, to follow directions. All the things that make you good learners when you're in school, right? And we know that the last part of the brain to develop is the prefrontal cortex, for all of those of you who are into science. That is the part of the brain that's responsible for good decision-making, planning, organization, and responsibility. All those things that are you're learning to do when you're in middle school. And the last part is that if you are using nicotine, it primes your brain for addiction for other drugs. And if you're in recovery from other substances, which is especially important now with the opioid addiction epidemic that's around, if you've gotten yourself off of other drugs, you were on heroin, cocaine, you went for treatment, you got out of treatment, you got your job back, you're back with your family, you probably are still smoking because it is the most addictive drug and it's really hard to get off nicotine. It keeps your brain primed for addiction if you keep using nicotine. So the industry uses 3 tactics to get young people hooked on nicotine. Any guesses? Yeah. What else? Flavors. Great. Flavors. What else? Branding. Yeah. Colors. Good. So 3 tactics. Making products with flavors. That's the main attraction for young people for the nicotine products. Flavors. And they make small flavored cigars that are cheap. In this country, we raise our kids on flavored cereal from the time they're really young, flavored yogurts, flavored Jell-O. And what do you give your young child when they've got that first ear infection? You take them to the doctor, you get that prescription, you go to CVS, you get the prescription filled with the antibiotic, and what flavor is it? Bubble gum, right, bubble gum. If it's flavored and it's medicine, how could that be bad for you? Flavor and medicine go together, it must be healthy. How could these products be so bad for you if they're flavored like bubble gum, cotton candy, pina colada, tutti frutti, gummy bear? So it must not be so bad for you. That's the problem. It is lots of nicotine. Lots of flavors that are candy flavored. This is all the marketing from the industry. Disguises the taste of the tobacco. One of the strategies is to pass policies through the boards of health that limit the access to these products for young people. The most recent one is called the flavor restriction. Many communities have passed it around the Commonwealth, and it says you can't have any flavored products for sale unless it's an adult establishment. So that gets all the flavored products out of the convenience stores and the gas stations, etc. Tobacco should not be cheaper than chips. This is one of our high school students that's in the 84 Movement statewide youth organization. A bag of chips could be $1, $1.25. Small flavored cigars, 2 for $1, 50 cents. So these products are very cheap. Especially compared to a pack of cigarettes. A pack of cigarettes brand name is at least $10 because of the tax. All these products are very low taxed and they are not regulated by the FDA. As bad as cigarettes are for us, the FDA knows exactly what's in each cigarette, every pack, all the 5,000 terrible chemicals that are in there that are carcinogenic. Another regulation is to restrict the sale of these small flavored cigars. You have to package it up, and they have to be in a box costing $2.50. So we know that price increases are effective. We know it for adults. We know it's for youth as well. We know that it drives down youth rates. And we know that the third tactic is easy to get. So in the convenience stores, the gas stations, the mini marts is where you find all these products for sale. There's the wall. So what that sends a message to the youth is that this must be okay, because if mom and dad can go in the gas station and buy a gallon of milk or a carton of eggs, it's different than a package store where you have all the alcohol in a separate store. So it sends the message of social norms. Is okay to buy tobacco. It can lead to impulse buying. We know that kids who see the products in stores are more likely to use them. And 2 other strategies are the pharmacy ban. Can't sell any tobacco in any pharmacies. Well, now, maybe you've heard statewide, the legislature passed a bill this summer that starting January 1st, you won't be able to buy tobacco in any pharmacy across the Commonwealth. They've also raised the age to 21. So starting January 1st, 2019, you have to be 21 in any town in Massachusetts to buy tobacco. Those are strategies that have worked. So the good news is that smoking rates of combustible regular cigarettes for adolescents in Massachusetts is way down. 9%. So all these strategies have worked and been put into place. What's the bad news? The industry is using all the same tactics that it has used in the past to get people hooked on combustible cigarettes, now to try electronic nicotine delivery devices or electronic cigarettes, especially products that have lots of flavor in them. Electronic cigarette is a device that has a battery in it. It has a cartridge of nicotine that's in a substance called propylene glycol. That's the first real educational piece that's really important. It's not in a cartridge with water vapor in it. It is not water vapor. Most youth think that it's water vapor and flavoring. So it's basically like sucking on a lollipop. That is not true. All electronic products, especially Juul that we're going to talk about, have nicotine in the propylene glycol, which is an oil-like substance. When you eat it in foods, because it's in a lot of foods, junk foods, pretzels, potato chips, it goes into your stomach and is digested because what's in your stomach? Great, acid, right. Is there acid in your lungs? No. So what's happening to that oil? It's killing you. That's right. It's going to be, because if you keep using it over and over and over again, the research shows that it starts forming pools in the bottom of the lung because it doesn't evaporate, and you can get pneumonias, respiratory infections, and that's the short term. These products are new. We don't know the long-term effects. We all know the long-term effects of using regular combustible cigarettes. So there's the propylene glycol that has the nicotine in it, and then there's the flavoring. Is there fresh mango juice in a Juul? Is there fresh pina coladas in a Juul? No. How do they get the flavor? Chemicals, right. Chemicals. The chemical is called diacetyl. It's the same chemical that they used to use in microwave popcorn to make that wonderful buttery flavor that makes you want to eat the whole bag of microwave popcorn. The problem was that in the microwave popcorn factories, the workers were starting to get sick. They were starting to develop respiratory infections, pneumonias, and when they did the research, it was from the heated diacetyl that was going into the lungs. So that's the second problem. The heated oil, when it's heated up and aerosolized, and then the heated diacetyl. So this is not water vapor with no nicotine. No electronic cigarettes has no nicotine. And then especially the Juul. The Juul is very popular now, right? It's a device, electronic cigarette, that actually looks like a flash drive. It's like having an iPhone 10. Who would want an iPhone 10? Yeah, everybody wants an iPhone 10. The problem is that the nicotine in the Juul is a special formulation of nicotine called nicotine salt. It delivers a big hit, direct hit right to the brain, which was its intention, so that it smooths out the draw, so you don't get any of that burning sensation in your throat or down into your lungs. So that makes it more attractive because it's not, it feels good to use it. So when you start using a Juul and you get that nicotine hit and you're a young adolescent and it feels good, and then you use it again, it doesn't take much to get your brain to get hooked on the nicotine. This doesn't have anything to do with willpower. It doesn't have to do with whether you're a good person. It doesn't have to do whether you make A's or you're in APA class or you're on the football team or you're in band or you're a good big sister or you're a great big brother or you help your parents. It has to do with the chemistry of your brain and how fast you're going to get hooked on nicotine. So if you're going to the bathroom every hour to Juul and get a hit of nicotine and share it with your friends in the bathroom and then go back to class and then the next hour go back to the bathroom and get more hits of Juul, and you do that from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. Kids tell us that they go through a pod of nicotine. So you have to put the little pods on the right onto the Juul. That's where the flavoring is. Each Juul pod has the equivalent of a pack of cigarettes worth of nicotine. That's a lot of nicotine for an adult. For an adolescent brain that's still developing, it's way a lot of nicotine. And if you go home and use more Juul, and then into the evening use more Juul, you've gone through 2 pods of Juul flavorings, and then you've got to 2 packs of cigarettes a day worth of nicotine. So now you're hooked. Your brain is hooked on the nicotine. So it went from being a fun thing, having an iPhone 10, and now you're going to the bathroom every hour on the hour and using it after school and sharing it with your friends. And you don't know what to do because now you're hooked on nicotine. That's the problem. So you have to understand and help people realize that it's lots of nicotine and the flavoring is the problem. Big disposable and tank systems are what adults use. And many adults have used e-cigarettes instead of combustible cigarettes, or they've been successful at getting off of regular combustible cigarettes. Maybe there's some of you here tonight, parents, who quit smoking and gotten off of regular combustible cigarettes. That's a great thing. The problem is that if you're using e-cigarettes, that you're still hooked on nicotine, and these products are not regulated, so you don't know how much nicotine is in one of them. If you smoke one cigarette and it burns out, you know how much nicotine you've gotten. If you turn on a Juul or electronic device and you puff on it and you puff on it and you puff on it, it's not clear how much you're getting. So you've not quit the nicotine. That's the main problem. So we recommend getting counseling and going to your doctor and get recommended FDA-approved products like the patch or the gum and medicine. Here's an example, strawberry vape juice on the right. Looks just like that jar of strawberry jam on the left. Again, marketing and placement. We know from 2015 surveys, over half of Massachusetts high school students have tried electronic cigarettes. More youth use electronic cigarettes than adults do now. This is old data. We know now it's probably up about 50%. So we have to educate our youth. You should look around and see what's in your stores and in your convenience stores and the mini marts in your community. You can go onto the website called Make Smoking History and learn. There's a drop-down menu. You can put your town in and see what regulations your town has in Sturbridge or Brimfield or Brookfield, and decide if you want to work at increasing your regulations in your town. The problem also is that online sales of these products have skyrocketed until very recently. You can go, and some of you I'm sure know this, you can go on the Juul website, put in a birth date, put in a gift card, and then have the product shipped to your house. So our Attorney General, Maura Healey, is going after the Juul companies. Now the FDA, you may have seen this week, is holding the Juul and the other tobacco companies accountable. In 60 days, they're supposed to prove that they're not going to be able to sell these products to youth and market them to youth. We'll see what happens in 60 days. They could have done this yesterday, but they chose not to up until now. So this is a prevention curriculum for schools we've developed. All of this information is on the website Get Outraged, and you can go on there and see the products, see a school toolkit, talking points and tips about how to talk to youth about these products and how to get help if you are hooked on nicotine, to get help to get off of nicotine. Any questions? Great, okay, thank you so much.
A lot of great information. We have a Warrior matching set of mugs for Tina as a thank you for coming all the way out. Dr. Tina from UMASS, here we go. roll tonight. Give her a hand. Just for you guys. And we're going to go.